Hello, everybody. Welcome back to the channel. If you're new here, we talk about all things fandom and we talk about it in a positive way. If that's something that appeals to you, you've come to the right place. We're so happy to have you here. And today we have to talk about that brand new Fantastic Four trailer that just dropped. We'll break it down and then kind of give you our thoughts on what might actually be going on. So let's jump right into it. Okay, so we've got to talk about this Fantastic Four trailer that's come out, fandom, because now we know what we're getting exactly. This is a bigger trailer, it has more detail, but it still keeps it relatively simple. And I think that's a win for this trailer. This trailer is very unique. It didn't start off really fancy or epic. It kind of just starts off with this vibe that is sort of like you're watching an early episode of WandaVision. It's got that wholesome feel of the 50s and 60s, and it sort of has this really nice set where you do feel like you are taking a journey back in time. The difference between their world and ours is that they are living in a much more simple looking time, yet their simple time is a lot more advanced than ours because they have Mr. Fantastic. And we kind of start off this entire thing with this guy talking about them, talking about these heroes. And he says, "You all have heard the story. A group of people go into space and they come back changed." And then we see Ben Grimm. And Ben Grimm is looking like he's a little bit sad maybe for a second. And then these kids sort of pay attention to him. They want him to do something cool. They want him to lift up a car. So he shows them he can lift up a car. And it's a really cute little scene. I absolutely love the scene. And then we go to their house where we have the robot, where we have them all at dinner, and Sue Storm and Reed Richards are late. So they have just kind of this thing. But that's not the problem. They say they're late, and they're late. And it becomes this kind of joke for a moment until you figure out, and the other members of the family figure it out, that she is in fact pregnant. So Sue Storm is pregnant here and she's going to have a baby. Well, then of course, as happens in a lot of movies, and I'm glad they showed us this in the trailer, because if they had done the complete ultra happy scenario, it might not have played out quite as well. So what happens next in the trailer, of course, is that the Silver Surfer comes. Now, this is not the Silver Surfer from our universe, because mind you, all of this takes place in an alternative version of the MCU. This is not the MCU proper. So before anyone says this is not my Silver Surfer and it's some girl Silver Surfer, you have to realize that that's intentional, that this is another dimension. And once they go into our dimension, which we know is going to happen, you'll get a Silver Surfer that's proper. The thing of it is that this is not a Silver Surfer that doesn't exist in the comic books. The Silver Surfer actually does exist in the comic books, and they just chose to use it to show it's a different dimension. Well, the Silver Surfer comes down and she says, "Are you the protectors of the world?" And Reed Richards says yes, to which she says, "Your world has been marked for destruction." Well, this puts them kind of in a bind. Now they know they have to stop whatever's coming. And they, of course, go through all the things where they're talking about it's going to be too late. They're not going to be able to do it. And, they will defend the earth. They will defend their earth. That's just the way it is. They're going to no matter what. Well, what ends up happening is at the end of the trailer, we get to see the one that we've been waiting for. Unlike the previous movies where he was just a cloud of smoke, we actually do see the shoe of Galactus himself step down onto the Earth. Now, I know a lot of people have said that Galactus is much too big to be doing this and that this would be something that's bad. Ultimately, for us to get a Galactus that's actually a threat is going to be worthwhile. And this Galactus is pretty cool looking from what we see. So I think that this trailer did its job. It got us excited for Galactus. It really did. It got us excited for the Fantastic Four to be part of the MCU proper. And that's essentially what this is. So basically, what I've heard about this movie from people, and you can take all of this as rumors, because this is all pure rumor until we actually see the movie and know what actually happens. But I've heard that they actually fell. I've heard that they fell and their Earth is in fact destroyed. Only when it's destroyed, they end up in the MCU proper. That's one theory that I've heard. Now, I'm not sure if I believe that theory or not. I don't see a scenario where they're allowed to fail like that. However, I also have to look at the fact that this is the MCU, and you're forgetting that Thanos won. Thanos destroyed the MCU Earth. He snapped, and a majority of the people were gone. So there were no Avengers. There was no one to win the fight. Everybody was feeling it. Like the Avengers that were left, they felt horrible. Everyone really did lose in that movie. And we are going into Avengers Doomsday. And we're going to be seeing a brand new villain come in. But setting up a situation where they have lost could be really exciting. It could be something that is kind of that oddity, something that makes us like them a little more if they come into our world defeated. Because I always like when a superhero in a movie isn't the strongest superhero. You know, I love my superheroes to be superheroes and I love them to win, but they don't have to win every battle. In fact, sometimes it's better if they lose, because a superhero that loses is more humanized. It makes you feel for the character because now they are in this situation where they look like they are not going to win. And that's when you want them to win. So the idea that this is Marvel and they could make them lose in the end is something that I could see happening, but I don't believe it is going to happen. What I think is actually going to end up happening is that they will be successful in saving their Earth, because this is sort of an origin story for them, even though we're not officially getting the same origin story we're used to having. And I do give them props for not having Doctor Doom in this movie, although I do think Doctor Doom will appear in this movie. He's just not going to be their enemy. And that brings us to another theory. A lot of people believe that Doctor Doom is in this movie, and that this is the version that has popped up in leaks that you've seen with Robert Downey Jr. This is the one in those leaks with Robert Downey Jr. where he looks sort of old. This is that version of the character. And maybe, because there are many variants of Doctor Doom, I still have this crazy theory that I can't get out of my head that people have talked about, where Robert Downey Jr. that we've seen as Iron Man has never really been Iron Man, and we have not actually met Tony Stark yet. That has always been Victor Von Doom, except that in the world we know as the MCU currently, the Stark family lost their son and adopted Victor, and then they just went from there. And I think that's a crazy theory because it actually works very well. If you think about it, he gets a redemption arc. It kind of spins this tell. I could see that working, but I don't know what they're going to do ultimately. But Doctor Doom, I do think, is in this movie in one form or another. And since they are currently using Robert Downey Jr. to play Doctor Doom, maybe this is a variant that looks like Robert Downey Jr. It doesn't mean that we're getting Doctor Doom as Robert Downey Jr., going forward after that because Robert Downey Jr. could have only signed for a few more films. He's not doing this thing where he signs multiple year contracts with the MCU anymore. They got him back by signing him on as Doctor Doom, and that's exactly what happened. All the way back in the day when the Fantastic Four was being done before, he auditioned to play Doctor Doom. The difference then was that he was going through a bit of a rough patch in his personal life, and that's why he ended up not playing Doctor Doom. But it's kind of a cool thought to have him be playing Doctor Doom now. It doesn't mean that he is the Doctor Doom. And then you also have the theory that they're going to come into our world at the end of this via some portal. I believe that's going to happen, but I believe that's going to happen with Wong coming through and telling them that he needs them, that our world has a threat, that our world's in danger, and then they kind of come in and help with that. Now, it could also come to pass that somehow something that they do once they save their Earth, because I don't think their Earth is going to be destroyed. I don't think they're going to fail, but I could be wrong. I think that something they do in saving the Earth might send them to the MCU proper. So that is where I'm going to leave it off to you guys. I want to know what you guys think. Did you like this trailer? Did you hate it? Did it make you excited for the movie? Did it make you not want to see the movie? What was your favorite part about the trailer if you have seen it? And what do you think will happen in this movie? As always, we want to know what you guys think. Make sure you're leaving us that comment in the comment box below. Make sure you're sharing this video with all of your friends. They're going to want to be a part of this crazy conversation we're having. Then don't forget to hit that like button. It's free. It helps the channel. We really do appreciate it. Miko, of course, says we need more subscribers. And look at this face. You don't want to disappoint Miko. So go ahead and hit that subscribe button. And while you're down there, hit that notification bell as well so you don't miss a single video we do. Then friends, at the end of the day, I know it, you know it, and Miko knows it. Fandom is family.